Good afternoon here from Palm Springs. I am Valerie Milano, the senior editor of the Hollywood Times and also with Aspiring Magazine. And I'm so glad to have our guest here. I'm going to have him introduce himself. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. My name is Liron Topaz. I'm the writer and director for the film Saba that is screening in Palm Springs Festival. We're very, very, very excited about that.
Wonderful, and we are too. And I am just thrilled that your film has been chosen probably for a lot more film festivals, but for two that the Hollywood Times are media partners with, the Palm Springs Film Festival and also the River Valley Film Festival.
Yes.
So I'll just get going here. Thank you again for joining us. The film takes place in a surreal world where gravity flows upward. What inspired this unique visual and narrative concept?
Um, so the film is in memory of my grandfather, but it wasn't supposed to be a biographical film or a documentary. It was supposed to be more of a symbolic and poetic film. And the idea of the gravity or the reverse gravity was I was looking for a visual way to show that our time here in this world is borrowed. It passes by in a second. And I wanted to show the fragility of that, like how these things are not really set. And the idea was that everything that is alive still has proper gravity, is grounded until it does not have life anymore, and then it starts floating up. And what we later on we realize in the film is where it's going. It's going to the other side, which we don't know what that is.
Yeah, good one. The imagery described in the film is both poetic and dreamlike. How did you approach creating that visual language on screen?
Yeah, so first of all, we had an amazing team. Like the artist on this film has been like a dream to work with, and in particular, the two that worked very closely on the visuals, on the look of the film were Avner Geller. He was the production designer, and Mike McCain, who did all the color and the look, the overall look design. You know, the watercolor painterly feel of it. So we really worked hard on trying to make that feel very human made, like human, very tactile and human made, like the watercolors and everything. We wanted to feel real, and especially in an age that there's so much digital work out there, and now with AI doing so much, we wanted to really feel the human aspect of that.
Yeah, yeah. What were some of the biggest creative or technical challenges in bringing a world with reverse gravity to life on a short film budget?
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest creative or technical challenges?
Um, well, first of all, I think the biggest technical challenge was the fact that the entire film is one continuous shot. There's no cuts. So for 14,000 frames, it just keeps going. And that is a difficult task in live action, but even way more in animation because you need to have people that, it's a traditional animated film. So people had to have their drawings continuously, passing from one shot to the next through the entire film. And to make it even more complicated, we didn't have an ideal, huge studio production. It was an indie production. So we had to choreograph this at the same time because all the animators worked on it, parallel at the same time. So we had people in Japan or in Brazil or in Spain or in France and or all these different places were working on this, and they would constantly have to make sure that it aligns and links up to everybody else's work. So from a technical standpoint, that was by far the most challenging part. And also through the film, the time of day changes. So we start early morning and then it becomes noon. And then so slowly we see the sun and the lights changing. So again, a continuous, seamless transition. We didn't want it to be in your face. We didn't want it to be like, to take attention. It's just very, very slowly kind of creeps up on you and you don't even notice. And all of a sudden it's like it's dusk time or it's like, nighttime. So we really wanted this to be a part of the feeling. It wasn't supposed to be a gimmick, but really wanted to feel like it's part of the storytelling.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. This is a two-part question. The emotional journey rests heavily on the young lead. At its heart, Saba explores grief, memory, and closure. Um, Two things. Why were these themes important for you to examine through the eyes of a young boy? I know you said earlier that the title Sabo means grandfather in Hebrew, right?
Yeah.
So why were these important to, maybe because it had something to do with you, but why were these themes important for to examine through the eyes of a young boy? And what was the casting process like? Like to think about the character. How did you work with all that and to capture such complex emotions?
So the casting was the easiest part because the casting, the voices are my two boys. So my younger boy, my middle child, my younger boy did the young boy, and my oldest boy was the teenager version of the boy. So that was the easier part. But the reason I wanted to capture those, to touch on those elements is because, as I mentioned, for me it was my grandfather that I connected with so much as a young boy, but I wanted people to connect to it from their own grief. Everybody lost someone that they really cared about. Everybody lost someone that really meant a lot to them. And I felt like I wanted to tell it in a poetic way so everybody can kind of put their own experiences and their own loss in this tale. And I've heard from many people that that feeling of unresolved closure, that closure that will never probably heal, is something that really resonated with them. And I wanted to touch on that because for me that was a very difficult thing. I'm still having very hard time with accepting the unresolved closure that I had with my grandfather, and I know maybe many other people feel the same. So it was trying to hit on that on that core emotion.
Yeah, that one of those first scenes brought a tear to my eye, and that's not usually like me. So
Thank
I'm going to
you.
congratulate you on that. I know your producer is your wife. Y'all collaborated closely on this project. What did that creative partnership bring to the film?
Yeah, first of all, she was the best producer I could ever imagine for this project because not just because she's my wife, but because she's an amazing producer. And when we started this, the interesting part is that my grandfather passed about 17 years ago, and she remembers him because we've been together for so long that she remembers him as a teenager, and so she knew how much he meant for me. She knew what the story really tells. She knew where this is coming from. So to have a producer that's more than just organizing schedules and budgets and trying to figure out all the logistics, but to really understand the core of what you're trying to tell. And I think that is really why this partnership I feel is so strong, is because she really understands what this film is about. And many many times she had a much more objective way for that because I was like deep in, and once in a while I would show her and she could give me a much more objective perspective on what is working and what is not working. So she had a lot of great creative inputs on the film as well.
Nice, nice. Little family affair. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Um, so we know Palm Springs Short Fest is coming up. This will be showing on June 23rd at 6:30 in Festival 5. I know you will be there, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
we're very
beautiful.
excited. We're very excited because it's in opening night, and we're very very thrilled to see that. I think it's the only animated film in opening night, so we're thrilled about that opportunity and about that. That really we're super honored to be there for that.
And then you're also in the River Valley Film Festival, which will be showing on July 18th at 3 in the narrative shorts. So
Yeah,
congratulations on that as well. Um,
thank you. I'm very excited about that festival. I think it's their third year, so I love to support festivals that are just starting because I think this could be an amazing festival to keep track of for the future.
Absolutely. And speaking of the future, what's next for you? Are there any future projects you're developing that continue to explore these kinds of deeply human themes?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm always fascinated with. The human connection is really at the core of it is the most important thing for me. I'm currently developing a few different projects, and one of them is actually After we created Saba, and it got so much amazing reaction from people, and like so many people come to me after the screenings, and like we were just screening it in Tribeca, and so many people approached me afterwards and told me how much it reminded them of their brother or their sister or their mother, or people just kept connecting to it, and it really made us feel that there is a larger film to tell here. And one of our executive producers is Chris DeFaria. He was the a previous CEO of DreamWorks Animation, where I'm working, and he really liked the film because of the world and that concept, that reverse gravity idea. And he challenged me to see if this could be a larger story. What could we do to expand on that?
Nice.
And because of that, we started developing an idea for how could that look if this was like a feature film, a narrative. But not to take away from this film, because it was made with so much care and love. I really wanted to live on its own. It's just that world is really interesting to explore, and this is something I've been developing as well.
Lovely. Well, so tell our audience and our viewers, how can they find out more about you and about your projects?
Well, first of all, we have a website which is called sava-film.com, which they're more than welcome to take a look, and also to follow me on Instagram. It's Liron Topaz, liron.topaz.art. And I'm going to start posting a lot of the process, the making of how we started doing a lot of interviews with all the different animators. We just did an interview with James Baxter, who is a legend in the field of animation. So we're going to start posting those. And I think people are really going to enjoy to see the process of this. This is really a labor of love, and we put so much of ourselves in this project. And I think it'll be really fun to share with the audience.
Well, we're the Hollywood Times dot today. The Hollywood Times Official is our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time and all this creativity from you and all your family and all the people behind the scenes. And thank you mostly for taking your time with us today at the very
Absolutely.
last minute.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate that.
Okay. Safe travels here. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye-bye.